guys. I am so excited for this. We are going to be joined by a few different women. We have Lauren Triplett, who's the Associate Marketing Manager at Mattel and the founder of Bite Size Consulting. She has been working with the Barbie doll and doing some amazing things there. I'm so excited for you to hear from her. We have Nadine Tapia, who's the founder and CEO of Tapia Beauty Group. We have Colleen Egan, who's the Executive Director of Berkeley Food and Housing Project. And then moderating the panel, we have Bree Jensen, who is a part of Pepperdine. She is the Outreach and Partnerships Officer of Marketing and Enrollment at Pepperdine University that has some amazing platforms and programs for women like you. Hey, ladies. Good to see you. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you for being here. We have Lauren here with us and Bree, and then we're waiting on Nadine and Colleen, right?
Yep, we're popping in from the other room. Nice to see everyone. Right. Happy Saturday.
Yeah, happy Saturday to you guys. How's your day been so far?
It's good. I got to hang out with these awesome ladies.
Awesome. Great. So Nadine and Colleen, if you guys want to just click the grab the mic button, you can click that and I can bring you on stage. Or there's another way to come on too, but just in case whatever way isn't working. Well, Bree, why don't we take a second while we're waiting on them and have you introduce yourself?
Yeah, happy to. Hi, everyone. Got some echo going here. Hi, Colleen. Welcome in. But my name's Bree Jensen, and I'm the Outreach and Partnerships Officer at Pepperdine University, specifically the Graduate School of Education and Psychology, where we house a social entrepreneurship master's program that I'm actually a second-year student in, getting ready to graduate. And Colleen was a student. She was a part of either the first or second cohort. She'll probably share about that. And then I also represent the business school at Pepperdine. Lauren was an MBA student there, and she'll share about that, as was Nadine, who is popping in any second. But I'm just really happy to be with all of you. I've been a part of Yellow for, I was just saying, probably about 5 years now. And when I walked in to the live in person there soon someday, I just felt like, oh, these are my people. Yes, I found people that are like-minded, that want to do social good, that are business women, powerhouse women. So I'm just really grateful to be with all of you today.
Awesome. So excited to have you guys here. Want to make sure Nadine gets on here before I pop off. It's having her, okay, I just got a message, it's having her download Chrome. So I'm sure once she has Chrome up, she'll be able to pop on. So I'm going to hop off, and Bree, I'm going to let you take it away.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Joanna. Again, hi, everyone. I'm excited to have this conversation because, as Joanna introduced the panel, they inspire me every day. Ella, I think you're rad too. I see your comment. I'm looking at the 3 comments. Ella, you're amazing. So I actually will just give my friends a couple seconds/minutes to share who they are, maybe elaborate on their bios a little bit, and say how they're doing maybe social good or entrepreneurship. Lauren, would you like to go first?
Yeah, absolutely. It is so great to be here. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Lauren Triplett. I am the founder and lead marketing strategist of Bite Size Consulting, and I am also the associate marketing manager behind some of the pieces of the Barbie brand. And as far as what I'm doing for social good and entrepreneurship, I founded my company, Bite Size Consulting, to be a way for me to help small businesses and nonprofits really develop a unique connection with the audience. And the way that I chose to do that is through digital media and digital marketing. I really saw, I see marketing as that bridge for a lot of companies. It's the bridge between the consumer that has a pain point, that wants something, and then the product or service that you offer that can fulfill that particular pain point. And I feel that with digital media and digital marketing, there's such an opportunity for small businesses, nonprofits, BIPOC-owned businesses to really kind of level the playing field and meet their consumers one-on-one. And I'm also finding that a lot of companies don't know how to do that. So it's great that I get to use the education that I got from Pepperdine and help these small businesses create those connections and help their businesses grow and develop. As far as what I'm doing at Barbie, Barbie is working to be the most inclusive doll line and is the most inclusive doll line right now. And I think it's just really awesome being part of the brand at this particular moment with all of the changes and wonderful things that they're doing.
Lauren, I think that's so cool. So by the way, I feel like I know a celebrity because I know you. Just all the things that Barbie is doing, and you are on that marketing team. I just hope you feel so proud of yourself and your team. I'm watching everything that's coming out from Barbie, from the plastic sustainability to, I took my daughter to, I shared this with you the other day, my 5-year-old Barbie shopping, and just the array of options and body types. And I just was so happy. Like, I'm literally getting chills because they'll kind of, maybe not all of us, but I played with Barbie when I was little and you had kind of one option, right? Mm-hmm. And so kudos to you. And also, the fact that you're doing all the digital marketing stuff for good. There's a lot of digital marketers on here that can relate to that. So I think we'll get into that as well. Colleen, same question. Would you mind sharing a little bit of your story and how it relates to social entrepreneurship, social good, social change?
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to be here. I'm Colleen Egan. I'm currently the Executive Director of Berkeley Food and Housing Project. As Lauren mentioned, I was in the first cohort of the Social Entrepreneurship and Change program at Pepperdine. And after I graduated, I really wanted to use my new skill set and apply it in the world and, make a difference. And what I started doing was working with people to help them secure employment. And what I quickly discovered that was, without some place to live and call home, it was really hard to secure and retain a job. And that's what really led into my interest in housing. And that is a big topic. I'm currently in Oakland, California, and it's a big topic in California and the country right now is, people experiencing homelessness and what is the solution and how are we going to make this a better situation? And what we've been able to do at Berkeley Food and Housing Project is really create a culture of meeting people exactly where they're at. And identifying, what are the next steps for them that is really going to make an impact in their life and that they feel comfortable with. And that's always been my approach, actually, in life and in leadership, is meeting people where they're at and thinking about, what your actions are and how that can really make an impact on someone and being very mindful. Something that we're currently doing at BFHP is Berkeley Food and Housing Project. We use a lot of acronyms in the nonprofit world, by the way.
Notice Pepperdine, as we know.
We're really leaning and, working closely with our partners and that's at the city level, the state level, and the federal level to, come together and create solutions that will end homelessness. So that's a little bit about me. And I look forward to diving more into my social entrepreneurship background as we continue this conversation.
Colleen, again, so many great things, even just in the intros, there's so many things that I want to unpack through this conversation. And I think one thing that I'd love to address in your story is just that sustainable change. It sounds like you're really touching people's lives, like what you said, where they're at. I think so often we kind of can come up with solutions that we think work for people without learning their story. And obviously, you know where that's coming from. It's coming from my education because we learned that through the MA in social impact, social entrepreneurship and change, is to make that sustainable change for people so that it's not a one-off, that it really goes to where people are and helps for the long haul. So thank you for what you're doing. And Nadine, I'm so glad you're here. We got Chrome downloaded and we're good to go. Nadine, the question is, because I don't think you heard it, but just will you share a little bit of your career journey or leadership story and how it relates to social change?
Sure. So mine's a little bit, first of all, I'm so happy to be here. And this has been so wonderful. And I can't wait for some of the upcoming events. I'm very excited about them. Mine is a little unconventional. I actually started my career over 20 years ago in beauty, working at a beauty counter while I was paying my way through junior college and taking care of myself. And so I quit school so that I can, really take care of myself in what I was doing. And I loved beauty. I ended up accidentally landing in beauty. I thought I wanted to be an attorney, which comes out that's absolutely the furthest from what I want to do. I grew in my career in beauty and led a company, a small skincare brand called Ole Henriksen, grew it about 15 times what it was within 6 years, and led it to an acquisition with Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy. And one of their 60 brands as a conglomerate was Sephora, so we sold it to Sephora. And that was such an amazing time. It was 6 years, like hardcore, going full on, building a brand. And, once it sold, I really thought I was going to feel, a lot different. I like fulfilled and energetic. And for some reason, I just felt there was a massive void. And I really, had to seek what that was. Spent a lot of years trying to figure out what I was doing. I started a consultancy and I still was feeling super unfulfilled. And then I realized, the beauty industry is changing, times are changing. And I really wanted to figure out what it was that I needed to tap into myself to figure out what that was. And I chose to go back to school, and Pepperdine just was probably the best decision that I've ever made. I went back, I got my MBA. I got a master's in dispute resolution, which I did that because I really wanted to understand people and how I can better lead people, and not only being fulfilled myself, but help other people feel fulfilled in what they wanted to do. And I wanted to be better equipped for that. And Pepperdine prepared me for that. They really did. And I met so many great people, so many connections that I have to this day. But my main thing was that I really wanted to align myself, and my desire was to run and operate, a purpose, value-based driven company. And I had to find out what I needed to do that. And Pepperdine helped me with that. I also got a Sears certificate while I was there. And, it led me to where I am today, which is running, I'm pre-revenue. So I'm starting a clean skincare line. That and thank you, and we're trying to be a B Corp. So I'm going through all the intensity that it takes to become a benefit corporation, and we're also going to be eco certified, which there's a governing body that'll tell us that these ingredients are good, and the partners that we choose are good, and and it's a small team now, but we're really excited about growing, and so that's where we are.
Very exciting, and kudos to you as well. When I was listening to your story, the thing that came to mind was you're willing to put in the work. Like you don't settle, you keep going and you keep building, and you do it for the purpose of social good, for fulfillment for yourself and fulfillment for others and health. I think that's so incredible. When I worked at the business school at Pepperdine, we have students or alums that come up frequently that we talk about. I call them kind of our all-stars, and you're one that comes up constantly. because your resilience and your drive and your desire to put in the work, even to become a B Corp. Some people may not want to put in the work for that, but you're determined. And I just want to applaud you for that. A lot of us can learn a lot from you as entrepreneurs, and hopefully we'll learn some more throughout this session today. So I'm going to take a question right back to you, Nadine. And the first time I met you was on another one of these, when we had asked you to do another webinar probably, and I was hosting for Pepperdine. And the minute I met you, I thought leader. And, there's some people that you just feel that. I don't think it's necessarily a personality. It's just maybe who they are, right? Have you always thought of yourself as a leader? And can you share a little bit what maybe leadership means to you and through your journey being a woman in the business industry?
That's a great question. And thank you for all of those kind words. I love Pepperdine as much as they love me. So I am always available for anything Pepperdine asks me to do. Leadership for me has evolved, and it continues to evolve over time. I think, some of the speakers, during the coffee hour said it best. You're constantly, I feel like I'm a lifelong learner. I didn't realize that about myself until I actually went back to school and said, people would go, why are you doing this? You don't need to do this. You really don't. I said, it's not about that I need to do it. It's that I want to do it. It's that I know that there's more for me to learn. And I think, when you come from that perspective of there is always something to learn and always something to know and always a way to kind of be better, do better, give more. And that to me is a good leader, is constantly being being able to kind of mold yourself into what needs to happen. Things are changing. Life is shifting. Business is so different than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 1 year ago. So I think you just have to be on that, edge of where you are, on that, that place where you're constantly learning, but also growing. And, it's been a journey. It's just been a journey over time, but that's where I feel like that's helped me get to the place that I am now is learning and connecting and I think that's why a platform like this is so important. Is that you talk to other people and you can grasp the little nuggets from everyone and learn something new every day, every time. So.
Yes, I love that, Nadine. Always be a learner, a life learner. And you took it one step further and you got a formal education too throughout your career while you were a powerhouse, leading companies and I'm going to get my BSM, which Bachelor's of Science in Management, and I'm going to do my MBA and I think that's so incredible. One thing that I've learned from my education, because I went back to get my master's after over 15 years, from my undergrad to my master's. And it's intimidating to go back, but I just felt like I needed more tools in my tool belt. I started a nonprofit and, it didn't go as well as I might have liked it to have gone. And so I remember the first class I took in the social entrepreneurship and change program was actually leadership. And you don't necessarily think of that as a class in social entrepreneurship, right? And I remember having a one-on-one with my professor, Dr. Denise Berger, and she told me, Bree, always enter a room as a learner. And honestly, I get chills when I share that story because for me, being maybe a little bit of a bolder personality, it just changes your posture and changes your attitude. And it allows more, for me, it's allowed more openness and also growth for myself. So I love that learning perspective. So I would love to go to Lauren. Lauren, you have a unique position where you're in a kind of well-known corporation. I think we've heard of Mattel just a little bit. Also working in Barbie. And then you have this incredible, I don't even want to call it a side gig because it's thriving. It's your own business. Can you share a little bit how you have created leadership opportunities, you've delegated, you've been able to kind of do both, and your experiences in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think the first thing is I started Bite-Sized because after I got my master's degree, it wasn't like, and I'm sure anyone who's gotten some type of additional degree or certification has gone through this. It's not like you apply for jobs immediately and everyone says, oh, she has a degree now, let's hire her. And that wasn't what was happening for me. And so I think there was this point where I thought, wow, I've done all this work. I got this MBA. I know that I want to do marketing. I know it's what I'm good at. It's what I have talent with, and it's what makes me happy. And I decided I'm just going to start helping people with this. I don't want to waste my education. I don't want to, just kind of keep going to work and going through the motions. And at the time I was working as an operations manager in a warehouse. And I decided I was just going to help companies that needed it. And it went from helping out Just for Success with some of their social media stuff and helping out Community Literacy Initiative in Leimert Park with some of their stuff. And then it just kept growing. And I think for me, it was that opportunity to say, okay, let me help as many people as I can. But I think when you run your own business, you also have to kind of put a stake in the ground and decide what it is that you want to do. And I know for me, when I look at social media, when I think about digital marketing, and I think about companies that use it, I didn't want to be the person that was in there engaging with people, talking with everyone, because at the end of the day, your consumers on social media are trying to connect with you. They want to connect with the business. They want to connect with the business owner, not me, random girl running your social media campaigns. And so I knew from then it was the moment where I said, let me teach people how to create connections. Let me show people how they can use digital marketing to enhance their business. Let me help them figure out the way to do this in a way that allows them to bring in an intern, and then they have an additional platform. And now they've got like a robust marketing department behind them because I took the time to give them what they needed. And I think recognizing that for me has been great, has been amazing, because it allows me to grow my business and still take in more clients without feeling so overwhelmed that I can only have one client at a time. And then I think with working for Barbie, it's been such an interesting and amazing journey for me. I went from being in a warehouse where I was managing just basically a warehouse full of men. And I think being one, a woman, two, a woman of color, and three, you guys can't tell on the screen, but I'm only 5 feet tall. But I had to come into that room and say, listen, guys, I know you're all going to drive these machines and you're all, 6'1" and probably have 200 pounds on me, but I'm your manager and you're going to respect me, and we're going to have mutual respect for each other, and I'm going to help you grow however you want. And I think coming from that position and now going to Barbie, where I have so many wonderful women that are around me, so many wonderful mentors that continue to lift me up and build me up. And they teach me things every day. When I'm like, guys, I have this thing that I need to do for Bite-Size, then they say to me, hey, what do you need help with? How can we help? What else do you need to get done? Let's get, like, you have a half day on Friday. Take that half day, do what you need to do. And so I think it's about accepting those mentors, even when you're not formally looking for one, accepting those partnerships, and really just putting that stake in the ground to say, this is what I need to accomplish and how to do it. So that's been super helpful for me in my journey and trying to balance two very wonderful jobs that I have.
Wow, that's really, you don't hear that often where a corporation gives you that freedom and support. That's really incredible. And also, I feel like you could do an entire session / consulting on how to be that leader in that warehouse, where I think I can relate to those experiences where you kind of have to just stand tall in a lot of ways and lead with bravery and just go for it. So I have lots of questions for you about that. That's incredible.
Happy to answer any of them.
Colleen, you come from a really, really unique background where you're kind of working in the social service sector and you're an entrepreneur. Would you mind sharing more about just the sustainable change that you're creating with people that are experiencing homelessness and whatever else kind of leadership lessons? Because that's got to be a challenging day-to-day emotional experience. So how do you lead through that?
That's a great question. And coming off of yesterday, so since March of 2020, as the world has been experiencing, COVID has definitely been a big challenge for service providers, especially those of us that have shelters and board and cares. And, trying to find that balance, because your staff, your colleagues, they're looking to you for that leadership. And then you're also responsible for their safety and your client's safety. And that has been our number one priority through the entire pandemic. But it's also making just big decisions, impactful decisions, without much information a lot of the time. And, at times that kind of what you were saying, Bree, that bravery leadership, you have to just stand strong and believe in the choice that you're making, and the decision is right because you've weighed all the pros and cons. You've looked at it you've backed up, you've looked at it through multiple different lenses. And I think that, something that's always been like my rock is when I walk into a room, I always walk into a room a learner. I think that's important too, Bree. I learned that in our leadership class, my first semester too. I also, it's big for me to say, okay, check your ego. Are you approaching this humbly? Are you being humble? Is this when you look at your colleagues after this decision is being made, are you still going to be able to look at them? Like, is this something where you create an environment of inclusion, where you felt that everyone felt comfortable saying how they felt, putting their opinions and voice out there, and knowing that it was going to be weighted. It wasn't, I'm the decision maker at the end of the day, yes, but the whole point of having, colleagues in a leadership team is to get their opinion and to make them feel like they have that power alongside of you, and that giving and providing them opportunities of power and leadership. So I think, to really answer your question, Bree, for me, it's more of just being inclusive, making sure that, when I said, we try to meet everyone where they're at, that's also from a perspective of employees as well. Because in order to provide a really good service to people experiencing homelessness, you have to have employees that want to come to work every day. And creating that environment to me is so important. And that culture of, waking up and not thinking, oh my gosh, I don't want to go there, but thinking, I feel welcome there. I want to go there. They celebrate me and my successes.
Wow, that's really, really powerful. I wish I probably should have Googled who said this, but I saw a quote recently where it said, people will only remember how you made them feel, and so that's so important. Again, kind of coming back to my personality, like I like to get things done. I'm a multitasker. I, am juggling a lot of things, and being present in right now and how I'm making people feel and trying to be empathetic to those that I'm leading, I think is a practice. And I just really respect you for practicing that every day in your work. And I'm sure you have challenging dynamics in what you do. And so I thank you for that. On a personal level, my dad and several other of my family members have experienced homelessness. And so the fact that you've taken the time to get to know individuals and meet them where they are, I think that I commend you. It's incredible work. Yes. So I would like to hear from each of you too, in your leadership. Who is someone, or maybe like me, I can't really find who I'm quoting, but is there a leadership lesson that you can share with all of us that has really stuck with you? While you're thinking that through, because I'll just kind of popcorn around the room, I do want to say that I experienced my direct reports have been different at Pepperdine. And I've experienced such authenticity and support from the Pepperdine community since I've been working there for the past 2 years. And I think it's changed me, kind of what you're talking about, Colleen, when you feel like you're cared for and you're part of a community, you feel loyal and you want to stay and you believe in what you do. And I think that's so powerful. So I'm really grateful for Pepperdine for that kind of community that I work within as well. So Nadine, would you like to go first on a leadership tidbit, a little lesson for us?
Yeah, I love that question because I think those are the experiences that really kind of somewhat drive your path. I mean, people can do even the smallest thing and it just be so impactful. And I had a mentor, and he's much older now, but I was in a job before I became the president and CEO of Ole Henriksen. It was a fragrance company, and he had sought me out for the job and was a consultant to the company. But the way that he made me feel in my role, because it was a new role that I had taken on for this particular company. There was certain things that I was still learning. And I just remembered him really allowing me, he gave me the autonomy, but he also allowed me to make mistakes. And when I made the mistakes, really guided me and really mentored me in a way that showed me that it's okay. You can make mistakes and you can rebound from them and you can come back and be even stronger. And I think when people are allowed that, it's a word that I use, and it may be kind of different for some people to hear it, but it's like an intimacy that you have with the person. You give them, you allow them just to be themselves and to work the hardest that they can work, but also know that they can be, they can make mistakes, they can learn and grow from those mistakes. When I mentioned someone who had a really he was pivotal in my career, his name is Richard Rucker, and I'll never forget him. He just allowed me to really grow in what I love to do. And it's about how people make you feel. So that was my experience.
That's a great experience. And I'm taking that on as well. Just leading with grace and allowing for mistakes. Absolutely. That's so good. And thank you, Ella, for putting in the chat that the quote that I said was from Maya Angelou, which of course I love Maya Angelou. I'm not surprised that I was quoting her. So thank you so much for finding that quote for us. Let's go to Colleen.
So sort of in that same vein that Nadine touched on, how people make you feel. One of my first CEOs that I worked for, he made a point to meet with every single employee, where there was I think there was 500 in our organization. So on your first day at your orientation, you meet with your manager, you set up your workstation, and then you go to the administrative office, to his office, and he sits with you for an hour. And he wants you to know him, and he wants to know you, and he doesn't want to know about work. He wants to know your dog's name. He wants to know your great grandma's name, what your favorite meal was that she prepared for you. He wants to know you. And on your birthday, he would wake up, because he was, as CEOs do, they wake up sometimes at 4 a.m. So you would wake up to a text message from him that just said, "Happy birthday. Hope you have a great day." And then he would handwrite every employee a birthday card as well. And that really stuck with me because it made me feel good. It made me feel part of the organization. It made me feel like, that it was more than just an organization. It was almost like an extended family, right? Like, we celebrated birthdays. We're sitting down with our CEO, who has a packed schedule, but it's so important to him to know everyone on an individual level. And I've really held on to that throughout my career. And that is something that I have built into what I do at Berkeley Food and Housing Project. I try to meet with everyone. I'm not as good as him. It's not on their first day, but at some point I try to meet with them, know their name. I like to know birthdays. I like to know life milestones. If people are comfortable and willing to share with me, I want to know about it. I want to celebrate them, or I want to know when they're in pain. I want to, let them know that there is support. There is support that we would provide to them. And I think it's just, people do, this quote is going to, I think this is the theme now of the panel. It's really how you remember how people made you feel. And I will never forget how warm and welcome he made me feel. And just talking with my colleagues at that organization, they all shared that same experience.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, that's a high bar to reach, but a great goal. That is really amazing. Lauren, same question.
Yeah, I think both of my fellow panelists here have covered everything. I think if there's anything that I could add, I had a manager at my previous job. Her name was Hope, and she's phenomenal. First off, she's still probably one of the best managers I've ever had. But she taught me something when I worked at that previous company that I actually still see today when I'm working at Mattel. And it was the people that we have here, they're smart people. They're capable people. They don't need you to tell them how to do their job. They just need you to give them the tools and get out of their way. And I truly kind of managed in that way, especially I think in a warehouse where you have these people who are super smart and they've been doing their job for years. And I come in and I'm like, hey, I've been here for 2 seconds. But I think at the end of the day, it was, let me make this connection with you and tell me what I can do. As your manager, what is it that you need from me? Do you want me to advocate for you in front of additional management so you can get a promotion or a raise? Do you want me to just get you a new set of tools? Like, what is it that you need that would make your job easier, that would make it so much better for you to come to work? And I think when I went to Mattel working in product marketing, what we do is really work with a lot of cross-functional partners. I'm working with finance, I'm working with product development, I'm working with design, I'm working with so many people. And it was the same thing. It's, I want to get to know you both on a personal level and professional level. And then I want to know, what do you need from me to make your job easier? And I think as a leader, it's been something that I've done for years, and it's never steered me wrong. Just recognizing that the people that you work with are talented and capable, and they don't need you to tell them how to do their job. They just need you to partner with them in a way that allows their job to be easier and allows them to get their work done. And so I think if you combine all three of these things that we've mentioned today, like, leadership done. So yeah.
That's so great. How can I support you? How can I advocate for you? What a great perspective as a leader. I'm sure they're very grateful to have you. So thank you all for those leadership perspectives. I'm taking it all in. All four of us have probably done a lot of Googling and a lot of, whatever we can do to learn different ways to be social entrepreneurs. But also each of us decided to do a formal education, and we have Pepperdine in common. And so I'd love to hear kind of your reasoning for choosing to do a formal education and what you feel that you got out of it that has supported your journey. While you're thinking of that, I'll just say for me, it sounds so cliche, but doing this program, I told my husband that it was the best professional decision of my life, because I've not only changed professionally, I've gotten promoted already. I've been able to create this incredible network. I've met all of you. It's really been such a blessing. But also it's been transformative on a personal level too. I've really kind of been able to grapple with myself and how I want to be and what kind of leader I want to be. So I think ultimately I'm grateful for Pepperdine for those reasons. And secondly, that I get a lifetime membership to this incredible community. And I know we're the waves, and I know that I can wave at, I think I got that from Ella. I can wave at anyone within the Pepperdine community, whether it's on LinkedIn or, at an event or something. And I found such an incredible support system that we as entrepreneurs need. We need support. So to each of you, maybe you can share your academic journey and why you chose formal education and Pepperdine and what it's brought you. Colleen, would you like to start us off?
Sure. So my undergraduate degree was in journalism, and I was dead set on, writing about the exposing the injustices of the world. I wanted to really do investigative journalism. And when I graduated from college, I ended up working at an advertising agency. doing advertising for laser dentistry, and it just really did not hit my passion button. And so I started thinking, I want to go back to school. I really want to expand my tool belt and, learn more. And in exploring master's programs, I was looking at doing an MBA. And then I stumbled across the Social Entrepreneurship and Change program, and it was the first, it was launching. And so I was going to be part of the first cohort. And after reviewing the curriculum and understanding what it comprised of, I couldn't sign up fast enough or apply fast enough. And something that really sort of hooked me was there is a foreign experience where you travel abroad and partner in some form of capacity with most likely an NGO of some sort. And I chose Teach Amanda Fish, and I went to Nicaragua, where I was on a coffee farm with a high school that was supported by 8 different businesses that the students actually operated themselves. And when they graduated with business plans to go back into their community and start businesses creating jobs. And I couldn't have been more in my happy place. I did not want to leave. It made sense. And since then, I have worked in a variety of different social entrepreneurship enterprises, all attached to nonprofits. So really diversifying funding streams. One was it was called Sensible Cyclery. It was a bike shop that refurbished bicycles while doing a vocational training, and then sold the bicycles. The dollars from those bikes went right back into the programming. Another was a cleaning crew, same model, vocational training. The dollars earned from cleaning people's houses was put right back into the programming. And currently exploring an idea to do a vocational training in this new building that Berkeley Food and Housing Project has underway. It's called the BFHP Hope Center. It will bring 53 permanent supportive housing units, a 32-bed shelter, 12 transitional beds, and a community room, which will bring a community meal daily to everyone living in the building and to anyone experiencing food insecurity in the community. And my idea would be to, same model, vocational training in the kitchen, serve safe, certified, partner with local employers, and help people secure and retain employment. So as you can see, I think, you go through whatever program you choose, but as you sort of turn out into the world to start your career or dive back into your career, you're looking at it through a different lens. And so for me, I'm always looking at an opportunity, right? How can we make this something more than it is? And how are we going to diversify these funding streams? Because as my fellow nonprofit people know, we need different ways of funding. Yeah.
Wow, that is incredible. So many incredible things. I can't wait to research more of what you're doing. And I see that your link is posted there so people can look into more of what you're doing and how they can support and, all those great things. And I'm also coming up on my global experience immersion. So I'll love to kind of hear more about that as well. It's such a great part of the program that you get to go and learn from a community. Lauren?
Yeah, so I think for me, going to undergraduate, that was not, I had to do it. My mom told me I had to do it. My grandparents told me I had to do it. I knew that I was getting an undergraduate degree. And I think when I went, initially, I thought I was going to be a lawyer. And I sat in my first poli-sci class and I was like, definitely not for me. I need to pick another stream of consciousness to go on. This is not the thing. And I remember sitting in an economics class and I thought, this is so much more interesting, because at the time I was going to Florida State, and at Florida State, economics is not really part of the business school. It's actually part of social sciences. And when you think about economics and social science, it's all about what causes humans to behave in the way that they're behaving, and are there patterns that we can see in that. But I also happen to have a natural knack for sales. And so I think thinking about sales and thinking about economics and how I can bring those two together, it's really all about marketing. Marketing is the bridge between the two. So when I got out of college, it was 2010. So right after the 2008 economic crisis, and nobody was hiring more economists to tell us how bad things were. So I ended up going into retail, and I decided to go back and get a master's degree because I still knew that marketing was the thing that I wanted to do. And when I left Florida and moved to California, I thought, I don't know, do I move to San Francisco because I really love San Francisco? Do I stay in LA? What school do I go to? And the reason I chose Pepperdine was because it was the first school where I felt like they were authentic and that they really wanted to see me succeed in the best way possible. I didn't feel like it was pushy. I didn't feel like they felt like, oh, they're too good for me, or like, I don't know, it just felt like home. And so when I went to Pepperdine and started going to the classes, the number one thing that I got was the community and the network. I met people from so many different walks of life, people that influenced me, and people that helped me just see that there were so many more opportunities that I didn't even know existed. And to be 100% honest, I wouldn't have this job at Mattel working for Barbie if it weren't for Pepperdine. I went to a Pepperdine networking event and I met people that worked for Barbie and people that worked for Hot Wheels. And I was like, man, what a cool job. We get to play with toys all day. Like, that's amazing. Like, who knew that was a job? And then, you know, fast forward years later, I reach out to one of them, and now here I am working at Barbie with her as like my first manager, which is crazy. And so I think for me, getting an MBA was absolutely the right way to go. I knew that I wanted to be able to prove to myself, and I think prove to other people, like, I know what I'm doing. There's a reason why I love marketing, and there's a reason why I think that I can make such an impact and such a big difference. And in the time that I've started my own business and I've helped churches, I've helped nonprofits, I've discovered so many amazing and wonderful humans and wonderful companies that are just doing such good work for their individual communities. And I hope that as people are here in the summit, especially people of color, especially women of color, like, just know you can do whatever you want to do, and you don't need a degree to do it. But the moment that you have that opportunity to do it, absolutely take it. Because when I went to Pepperdine, I got to meet so many different women and men who were just doing amazing things. And I think taking that opportunity to just meet these people and to understand what else is out there and what else is available to you, it is 150% worth it. And if I had to do it all over again, I'd still end up at Pepperdine in that MBA program, because it was the best thing that could have happened to me.
Wow, that's really, really cool, Lauren. Thank you. That was so inspiring. Thank you for sharing. I see so many emoji hand claps going, and thank you for inspiring all of us. I know we're coming up on our time, so I'm going to let Nadine close us off with just her brief experience of education. However, I do want to note that at the top of the screen or the comments is my one-on-one schedule. If any of you would like to discuss a Pepperdine program, specifically the Social Entrepreneurship and Change program, the MBA, or the Bachelor's of Science in Management, I would love to chat with you. No pressure. Like, we can just have a conversation about education. You don't have to, I won't make you sign anything. Okay. I promise. So thank you so much, all of you, for sharing your experiences. I am going to give it over to Nadine, and then we'll close it off. Nadine?
Wow, I've first got to say, Colleen, the work you're doing, mind-blowing and amazing. I can't wait to connect with you offline. And I really do believe exactly what everyone said. It's Pepperdine. I went to a few locations, few different schools that were in my area. Could have been really easy for me. It would have been a quick drive down the street. But the way that, again, how Pepperdine made me feel when I arrived was different than any other school. And I did feel that they do champion for you to win. And not only do they champion you to win, they also give you the tools. They provide the support. They're there. And they're not just there because it's something they have to do. It's something that they choose to do. That's the difference between what I felt at other schools, was that Pepperdine really found people that were in the roles that they needed to be in to help people like us, find our purpose. And that's what they did for me. I think they helped me align my goals with my purpose. I do feel like I am on my journey to being fulfilled in what I'm doing. I'm now working, with this building this brand, and also at the same time, I am supporting a program at Pepperdine called the Horizon Scholars, which is it is a program that helps foster youth really kind of continue their education. And so that's really important to me because I too could have been fostered. I was actually taken in by my family, but was considered a foster child. I aged out of the foster system. So for me, to be seen by a program like that, just to be acknowledged that, hey, we see you. We know that you've had a tough time in your life at some point, and we want to just give you a little bit of support. And for me, that kind of a program for students who are trying to find their purpose could not be like any more needed than it is now. And so I love Pepperdine for all of those reasons, but I think for the practical reasons it was a great experience. I had a wonderful cohort. I still have connections and relationships that I can pick up the phone and call some of my professors and, some of my colleagues that I've met there. And it's been wonderful. So just a great experience. And thank you guys for having me today. Thank you, ladies, for having me today.
Thank you, Nadine. And thank you, all of you. I feel honored to know you, and I feel honored to be a part of this Yellow Co community. So would love to connect with all of you in one shape or form. And thanks again, you guys.
Awesome. Yay. Let's give them all a virtual round of applause, everybody. Thank you all. What a powerhouse group of women who are creating such meaningful change in the world through their meaningful work. So appreciate all of you being here and being a part of